Hereby called Iberia Parish Council agenda November 14th to order. Mr. Joel, would you help us with the prayer?
We'll say the Lord's Prayer. In the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen. Our Father, who art in heaven,
Hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Mr. Consul, and the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Tommy Pollard. Here. Michael Landry. Here. Tommy Landry. Here. Lloyd Brown. Here. Warren Gotchison. Here. Natalie Broussard. Here. Paul Landry.
Here.
Ricky Gonsolin. Joe Dugas.
Here.
Jean Olivier.
Here.
Brian Napier.
Here.
Berwick Francis. Here. Marty Trahal. Here. And Chad Montran.
Okay, we have a quorum. First item is public comments. I need a motion and a second to go into motion. I have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Mr. Gauchessin. Roll call. Joe, Joe. Just push it through. Okay, that motion passes. We're now in public comments. Item number one, comments from the general public on non-agenda items. We have Mr. Pat Norris is going to get up and speak. Mr. Norris.
Good evening, everyone. Pat Norris on behalf of as chairman of the Iberia Parish Airport Authority. Thank you, Mr. Landry, for letting me address the council tonight on such a short notice. Some of you may or may not know already. Unfortunately, I've got to bring some bad news. This past Monday night, I was informed by our current airport director, Megan McClellan. She had issued me her resignation. And as of yesterday morning, she officially gave me a letter resigning as airport director. And currently, right now, her last day is going to be December 7th. She has been recruited and is going back to her old job back in Texas for DOTD Aviation. Apparently about 3 weeks or so at some point, her previous boss started calling on her again, and like she explained to me, gave her an opportunity and a package that she could not just refuse. So unfortunately, she's going to be leaving us and going back to Texas. Last night we had our regular board meeting, and we expanded the agenda, and the commission has given me the authority to go ahead and start advertising again and start the process of looking for another director. I did inquire on the last applicants we had from the beginning of the year. Actually, we started about a year ago from this time on the number 2, number 3, number 4 spot. And unfortunately, all those positions, they have found good, solid employment, and they're happy where they're at. I do have some leads from 1 or 2 assistant directors in other areas right here that I have reached out to, and we're going to, I'm going to try and set up some preliminary discussions and some meetings to see if we can start some discussions and see if they may have an interest. I know Mr. Richard was notified yesterday. He was at the airport, and he was informed of what I was informed of the night before. And I don't know if he was. I know Larry was copied on the letter of resignation. Whether he got it yet or not, I'm sure it's not in your packet because it just came about this week. But I'll just read the letter that was presented to me, just for the sake of y'all knowing. I'm aware some of y'all, did hear about it already through word of mouth. Some of you may not have known, and I really want to come before y'all and just tell you what happened, what's going on, and we're going to plan to address it and do what we have to do to get a replacement. And I just wanted to try to address it before it got in the paper and y'all got blindsided. Dated November 12th, addressed to Patrick Norris, Chairman, myself, dear Mr. Norris. I regret to inform you that I have been recruited by my previous employer, Texas DOTD Aviation, and have been given an offer that I couldn't refuse. Please allow this letter to serve as my resignation notification to you. My last day will be Friday, December 7th, or a later date that is mutually agreed upon. This was a very hard decision to make, and I sincerely thank you, the Airport Authority, and Iberia Parish for the opportunity to serve as Airport Director. I truly wish the Airport Authority members and staff all the best in moving forward, and I always will be a friend of IPAA. Thank you for everything, and I am committed to working diligently during my remaining time at the airport to aid in the transition period as best as possible. Best regards, Megan McClellan. Like I said, we're going to start the process again. We're going to start with a nationwide search like we did last time to see what's available, and hopefully we can pick, another person that is going to be the best thing for our Iberia Parish Airport. No doubt it was a bittersweet deal. We wish Megan the best, and if there's an opportunity for her that she truly thinks was best for her, we wish her the best. She assured us over and over again there was nothing that happened on our part from the staff or the commission or the parish or anything that made her go looking. She just was recruited again by her old boss that just wouldn't take no for an answer and did what he had to do to get her back. And hopefully, when one door closes, another opens. And hopefully we can find, nothing against Megan, but hopefully we can find maybe somebody better for us. So, any questions?
I don't see any, but appreciate you coming this quick and letting us know. So, like you said, we'll be informed. I know how hard you worked, and there was a time there where you picked up a lot of the work and everything, but I think I can speak for all the council. Thank you for coming here and informing us quickly.
Yeah,
And
well, good. I'm glad y'all had your meeting tonight, and like I said, I just wanted to come and address it to everyone. And I know some of y'all knew already, but it's not the kind of thing as a council member from the parish side you want to read about in the paper or hear on the street. And I know I would have gotten a phone call, so I just wanted to come in and address it.
well, I know with you still at the helm that we're in good hands. So back we
Okay, well,
trust you.
thanks for the confidence and that. Anyway, thank y'all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Pat. Next up, we have Mr. Cecil Email. And go ahead and state your name.
Yeah, my name's Cecil Email. I work for McElhenney Company, Tabasco, and I guess I'm here tonight requesting the council consider my appointment back onto the Iberia Economic Development Authority. Mike Tarantino wore me down, and he's asked me to come back again. I was the chairman at one time, I think the first chairman. So anyway, that's why I'm here. So I'd appreciate your consideration, and we'll work hard to try to promote economic development. Any questions that you have for me?
I don't see any popping up, but I know you're good for the parish, and I think you're a good choice. So, Cecil, thank you for stepping up and
Appreciate it.
taking the reins.
Thanks for your confidence.
Thank you. Okay, now we go on to item number 2, comments from the general public on agenda items, persons being considered for appointment to parish boards, commissions to address the council. We have no one that filled out a card, but is anybody wishing to be on a board or commission that would want to speak at this time? Okay, I need a motion and a second to go back into regular session. I have a motion by Mr. Gashasay, a second by Ms. Broussard. Roll call. That motion passes. We're now in regular session. Reports, finance, it's an administration action. We have none. Reports, parish and other governmental agencies. Monthly building report dated October 2018 is in your packet. Public Works report, Public Works Department report for closed work orders dated October 15th to 19th, 22nd to 26th, and October 29th to November 2nd is in your packets. Now we have one special business. Discuss, consider, and take appropriate action regarding a demand letter and dispute related to the Estes Road, Paul Segura Parkway Sewer Project. Note, the council may choose to go into executive session pursuant to LARS 4217A2 and 10 and LA Attorney General Opinion number 12-0078. At this time, I think I'll hand it to Mr. Shealy. Mr. Shealy?
Mr. Landry, I would suggest that we need a motion and a second to go into executive session.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Michael Landry and a second by Mr. Gonsalam. Roll call. Okay, that motion passes. We're now going into executive session. We're going to go ahead and ask everybody to clear the room, please.
Mr. Landry, I'd like to ask
Okay, one second.
Ms. Segura to stay, of course, Mr. Richard and
That motion fails.
yeah.
Back in regular session. Yes, Ms.
Record to reflect that we received a report. No recommendation was made, no vote was taken or accepted. A report of the progress with respect to the Estes Road, Paul Segura Parkway
Okay,
project.
thank you very much. Okay, next we go into council member announcements. First up is Mr. Napier.
I just on a light note here, I'd like to wish our fearless leader right here. Today's his birthday, and I think he's actually can take Social Security. If I'm not, I don't know. If not, he's pretty darn close. So I just want to tell our chairman happy birthday.
Well, thank you very much, and if we weren't in a public meeting or an adult situation, I would let y'all spank me, but I'd also like to put a shout out to Miss Cindy, Mr. Richard's secretary. Today is her birthday also.
All right. All right.
Oh, sorry there. All right, let's see, first up after Mr. Napier is Mr. Olivier, Mr. Eugene.
I'd like to thank the general public for supporting the Grand Mary Mardi Gras Association Soul Food Cook-Off this past Saturday at Super One Foods parking lot in New Iberia. Thank you all very much.
Okay, Mr. Gonsalam?
Just a quick announcement. Our annual Kiwanis Pancake Supper is tomorrow night. Come out and support it. We support the Children's Parade, Boys and Girls Club, Harvey the Rabbit. It's a great event for the family. Several of us will be myself. I think Stacy, several of us will be out there cooking pancakes as well. So come out and support us. It's a great family event.
Okay, Ms. Broussard.
Yes, District 6, 7, and 8 will have their semi-annual town hall meeting on November 29th at 6 p.m. at the Slyman. So if you have any questions for us, comments, wanting to know what's going on with parish government, come meet us at the Slyman November 29th at 6.
And wrapping it up, I'd like to remind everybody they have the first Let It Snow Festival at the Isle of Iberia, Saturday, November 24th. Craft and vendor show, music by Chris Arden. My favorite is Photos with Santa, and there will be a golf cart decorating contest, and we'll have the first annual Iberia Chef of the Year, Iberia's Top Shelf. So, and Iberia Eats Expo 2018, so that should be a good time. Isle of Iberia, Saturday the 24th after Thanksgiving, 2 Saturdays. Okay, no other announcements. Mr. Richard.
Okay, our last litter abatement program pickup was great. We had 5 people attend. We picked up 33 bags of trash with some wood and some boxes. That was done on Alterio Road. It was great. We actually got a chance to clean up Alterio Road pretty good. As you know, we're on countdown for the budget right now. The staff is working extremely hard. We're going to have that for you on the 28th of this month. On November the 3rd at the courthouse is a part of the celebration for Dr. Emma Wakefield Paye. Dr. Paye was the first female black physician in the state of Louisiana. She was born here in Iberia Parish. It was a great deal. We started that day when we unveiled the marker at Boulogne Plaza. And we had a reception here at the courthouse with a band. It was absolutely awesome. It's very well attended. Very, very good day for Iberia Parish. Security in the courthouse is moving forward. We're in the finalization stages. Currently, we just got the detector in the front on the first floor, DEQ certified. We got all of the signs that's going to be around here. We should be installing signs around the courthouse within the next couple of days. We have one automatic door lock that we still need to put downstairs, so that's moving along very, very well. Public Works work schedule. I'm not going to read that. As you know, we always have a lot going in Public Works, so we look like we got a pretty long meeting tonight, so I'm going to just stop there. Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda items for public hearing and adoption. Minutes, the regular meetings of the October 24th, 2018. Summary number 186, introduced by the parish president, a resolution authorizing the financial audit contract with Calder, Slavin and Company, LLC, certified public accountants for a 3-year term, which would include audits for 2018, 2019, and 2020. Summary number 187, introduced by the parish president, a resolution approving the engagement agreement with Calder, Slavin and Company, LLC, certified public accountants, to conduct agreed-upon procedures in accordance with a resolution authorizing said financial audit contract at an estimated cost not to exceed $9,000. Summary number 188, introduced by the parish president, a resolution authorizing the extension of an entity and state agreement between Iberia Parish Government, the Department of Transportation and Development, and Acadiana Planning Commission for the construction of the LA 675 at Airport Road Roundabout in Iberia Parish. And summary number 189, introduced by Parish President, a resolution certifying to the Louisiana Department of Transportation and Development that the parish has met all of the prerequisites to participate in the off-system bridge replacement program for the period of October 1st, 2017 through September 30th, 2018. This is the point that I asked if anybody has anything to pull out. I'd want to let y'all know that we're going to pull out summary number 189 after we vote. We're going to need to go to suspend the rules because that did not go through committee, and we on a timeline here, so we need to process that. So does anybody else have any that they would like to pull out of the consent agendas? Seeing none, I go ahead and ask for a roll call. A motion by Mr. Gonsalves, a second by Michael Landry to vote on everything except summary number 189. Roll call. Tommy. Okay, that motion passes. Now we're on summary number 189. I need a motion and a second to suspend the rules. I have a motion by Mr. Gonsalves, a second by Mr. Pollard. Mr. Gonsalves?
I move to suspend the rules on summary number 189.
Mr. Pollard, is that good? Okay. Any discussion? Roll call? Oh. Okay, motion to suspend the rules. Roll call? Okay, that motion passes. So now we're going to go ahead and get a motion and a second to vote on summary number 189. I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, a second by Mr. Gonsalves. Mr. Olivier? Mr. Gonsalves?
I waive.
No further discussion. Roll call? Ricky? Marty? Okay, that motion passes. Okay, Mr. Saunier.
I would just like to explain to you why I didn't go to committee.
Okay.
At this point in the year, DOTD comes and inspects all the files, and they did so, I think, a week ago, if I'm not mistaken.
About a week ago?
They don't give us a lot of time, and when they're complete, they give us, I think, till November 15th to have the resolution passed, to get that document back to them. So that's the reason that it didn't go through the normal process. We just don't have the time to do it.
They're not considering these minutes.
Yeah, okay. Okay, finished with consent agendas. At this time, I'm going to skip and I'm going to go to resolution item number 193. Summary number 193, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution appointing Mr. Cecil Email to the Iberia Economic Development Authority representing Iberia Parish Council, Districts 8 to 9, to fill a vacancy created by the resignation of Mr. Benny Maynard, whose term expires on December 31st, 2020. Have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas, a second by Mr. Trahan. Mr. Gonsalas?
I'll wait.
Mr. Trahan? Roll call?
Excuse me,
Oh.
Mr. Chairman, I think we have to accept Mr. Benny Maynard's resignation before we can appoint Mr. Cecil Email.
Oh, okay. So we're going to go back to summary 192 before we vote. Introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution accepting the resignation of Mr. Benny Maynard as a member of the Iberia Economic Development Authority representing Districts 8 to 9, effective immediately. Have a motion by Mr. Trahan, a second by Mr. Napier. Mr. Napier? Okay, no further discussion. Roll call. Okay, that motion passes. Now we're going to go back to 193. 193. Okay, I had a motion by Mr. Gonsalas and Mr. Trahan. Do they stay the same?
Yes.
Okay, roll call. That motion passes. Mr. Cecil, we appreciate you stepping up to the goal, okay?
Go home, man.
Okay. So now we're back to summary number 4933, introduced by legal counsel, an ordinance amending Chapter 20 of the compiled ordinances of Iberia Parish by adding Article 3, comprising of sections 20-30 through 20-51, both inclusive, relating to stormwater pollution prevention, regulating stormwater runoff discharges from land development and other construction activities, to provide for the compliance and enforcement of violations thereof, to provide for an effective date, and to otherwise provide with respect thereof. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Olivier. Ms. Broussard?
Wait.
Mr. Olivier?
Tell you what, I can understand why Sarah need help doing this. There's a lot of information. Back up, yeah. But I'm definitely going to support it, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Mr. Okay, Mr. Dugal?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Gary, does this include residential dirt paths?
The way that this is written is if you're disturbing anything over an acre, you are required to put your BMPs in place, which is the best thing I could describe it is the black stuff, the black paper that goes around the construction site, and or if you are the hay bales you will see around your storm drains. So if you're disturbing anything over an acre, that's even if you have, let's just say you have 5 acres of trees and you want to clear cut that, well, you've got to have those BMPs in place.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, I know, and that's what I'm afraid of. Thank you very much.
Mr. Gonsalas?
Sarah, just quick, I read through most of it and enlightened myself most, but from what I understand, agriculture is exempt from the BPs
Yes, sir.
under the current regulations. That's what I read.
Yes, you're correct.
Okay, I am correct. Hey, I got thousands of acres. I don't need thousands of hails of being around my farm. But, so. All right, just want to make sure.
Okay, no further discussion. Roll call. Ricky. Tommy. Okay, that motion passes. Summary number 4934, introduced by Zoning Commission, an ordinance approving the reclassification request for the property of Francis J. Bonar, 4200 block of Vita Shaw Road, located generally south of Vita Shaw Road, west of Lowerville Road, and east of Danielle Road and Northside Road, the particular parcel being rezoned from A1 agricultural to R2 mixed residential, located in District 9. All is reviewed and recommended by the Iberia Parish Zoning Commission. Have a motion by Mr. Napier, a second by Mr. Dugas. Mr. Napier?
Sarah, everything's, I think from committee, everything's T's crossed, I's dot, everything's good to
This
go?
one actually did not go to committee because it came under your new ordinance, so it had a favorable recommendation from the zoning commission to rezone from A1 to R2. I don't even think anybody came to the actual zoning commission meeting other than the representative for the property owner. This is a larger tract of land that they're rezoning only a portion of it because they are going to, they actually will come through the plating process to carve out two, I think it's over a little 1 acre pieces of property in order for in order to build houses on it.
Yeah,
from
and
my
it's family.
understanding.
I know the
Yeah.
family, and it's all, yeah, okay,
So everything's
good.
is good.
okay, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Dugan.
Waive.
Okay, no further discussion, roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 4935, introduced by the clerk of the council, an ordinance to amend Chapter 21 of the Iberia Parish compiled ordinances to abolish Water Works District Number 4 of the Parish of Iberia, Louisiana, and providing for other related matters in connection therewith. Have a motion by Mr. Trahan, a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Trahan?
Waive.
Okay,
Talking with my
that's,
boss, Lindsay.
no further discussion, roll call. Just ended. Yeah. That motion passes. Resolutions introduced for public hearing and adoption. Summary number 190, introduced by legal counsel. A resolution to take appropriate action as discussed in special session regarding a demand letter and dispute related to the Estes Road, Paul Segura Parkway Sewer Project. I have a motion by Ms. Broussard, a second by Mr. Gonsalas. Ms. Broussard.
You're having trouble saying Bruce.
Well, that happens when you get to be my age.
I move to delete.
Okay.
I move to delete.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr., is that okay with the
Yeah.
second?
I'll second the deletion.
Okay, no further discussion. We're voting on a deletion of 190. Roll call. Joe. Okay, that motion is deleted. Summary number 191, introduced by the clerk of the council, a resolution accepting the resignation of Mr. J. Wayne Landry as a member of the Iberia Parish Library Board, effective immediately. I have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Ms. Broussard. Mr. Brown? Ms. Broussard?
Wait.
No further discussion, roll call. And that motion passes. Let's see, we've done 192 and we've done 193. Summary number 194, introduced by Waterworks District Number 3, a resolution amending the 2018 Waterworks District Number 3 fund budget in the amount of $3,211 to provide for various adjustments to said budget. I have a motion by Mr. Olivier, a second by Michael Landry. Mr. Olivier? Michael? Roll call. Mike? Okay, that motion passes. One quick thing for y'all, I've talked to the girls in the office, they've researched it. All these budget adjustments are gonna go under the consent agendas next time, so you would be able to pull it out if we wanna talk. Summary number 195, introduced by the Acadian Fairgrounds Commission, a resolution amending the 2018 Acadiana Fairgrounds Commission fund budget in the amount of $7,000 to account for additional concession supply purchases and additional sales. I have a motion by Tommy Landry, a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Tommy? Mr. Olivier, roll call. Mr. Brown? And that motion passes. Summary number 196, introduced by Parish President, a resolution amending the 2018 16th JDC Juror Witness Fund Budget to provide for year-end adjustments. I have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Mr. Michael Landry. Mr. Brown? Mr. Michael Landry? Ms. Broussard?
Could you tell us what these adjustments are?
On this particular fund?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, all of them. I'll be asking for the rest of them, but
So this is all stuff that we discussed in the budget meetings. Basically, witness fees and juror compensation is not coming in at what we budgeted, which was based on prior year revenue estimates. We are earning more interest, so that was accounted for there. The reduction in the witness fees that'll be paid as a result of the reduction in the revenue, and then the decrease in the transfer to public building for the courthouse security costs. The total amount of the adjustment is $77,000.
Ms. Broussard, do you still have the floor?
No, I'm good.
Okay, no further discussion, roll call. Mr. Strong? That motion passes. Summary number 197, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2018 Fire Protection District Fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. I have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas, a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Gonsalas?
I'll waive.
No further discussion, roll call.
I'm gonna ask
Oh,
for an
okay.
explanation on every one. If I have to do it individually, I will.
That's fine. Okay. Mr. Gonsalas?
I'm good with the second.
Okay. Ms. Broussard?
So in fire districts adjustment, they adopted a millage during the year, which was higher than the budget number that was reflected in the original adoption for 2008. So it's recognizing the additional revenue. We also approved during the year the RAN, the revenue anticipation note. So that's recognizing the amount that they would receive through that borrowing. Again, that's an estimated amount because I don't know exactly what it's going to be. I actually do think that it's going to be lower than what we're putting there, but I don't want to put it lower and then we take more and us be outside of the compliance. And then the interest that'll be paid on that, the professional fees, and then the just adjustments to the fund balance previous years.
No further discussion. Roll call. Mr. Napier? That motion passes. Summary number 198, introduced by Parish President, a resolution amending the 2018 Public Building Maintenance Fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. I have a motion by Michael Landry, a second by Mr. Napier. Mr. Michael? Mr. Napier?
Sure. So the first line item is the reduction in the revenue line that would be coming from 16 JDC for the courthouse security. And then you'll see some reductions to salary and related benefits. Basically, when the budget was adopted for 18, the security position was budgeted in the courthouse location. When we were preparing 19's budget, we realized that it would be more important and more relevant to us to have a security location. So we accommodated that in the 19 budget, but for comparative purposes, we need to move that. So we're reducing from courthouse security and moving that those expenditure line items into, I think I said it wrong, we're moving from courthouse to courthouse security. And then there's a small amount, we had did some work on the Roy building. We ended up having a sewer issue and a lighting problem, but the sewer issue needed to be fixed as well, so we needed some extra money in that line item. So the net adjustment increases the deficit by about $48,000. And keep in mind, like whenever we're doing these adjustments, I'm basically I'm not amending every single line item. I mean, the adjustments would be, 3 pages long. We're amending only those that, appear to be outside of the 5% compliance.
Is that it, Mr. Napier?
Thank you.
Sure. No further discussion, roll call. Mr. Gashison? Okay, that motion passes. Summary number 199, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2018 HUD voucher fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. I have a motion by Mr. Brown, a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Brown? Mr. Olivier? No further discussion? Well, I thought that's the process. Okay, Ms. Broussard?
Can you explain that one, Kim?
So we prepared that budget based on the estimates of what the prior year revenues were, and they're not, that's gonna be outside of the 5%, so we're reducing those revenues, in accordance, but the fund not receiving that revenues, they don't make those rental payments to the landlords and the tenants, so there's an offsetting reduction there.
Okay, no further discussion.
Mr.
Roll
Landry,
call.
can I
Nope.
just,
Yes.
Mr. Guerra, you keep referring to the 5% adjustment. I just want to make sure they understand that you're by law required to make those adjustments, and if you don't, you're going to get you're going to get written up in your audit, and these adjustments are simply to make sure that you are within compliance of the 5%.
Okay. And I'm okay with that.
True? Accurate?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, sir.
Okay. No further discussion, roll call? Yes. Mr. Napier? Marty? Okay, that motion passes. Summary number 200, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2018 royalty fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. I have a motion by Mr. Napier, second by Mr. Michael. Mr. Napier?
Yes, sir. So we,
Feeling that we're not supposed to be axing that?
No, we good.
No,
That's what I'm saying.
No, I just want you to understand that the purpose of these adjustments, when you make your budget, they're based on estimates.
No, I understand.
And so these adjustments are being made so that you come into compliance.
I think the council, has a right to, we should be axing, instead of just voting for it, we should be knowing what we're
Right.
voting on. Right. Okay.
Ms. Segura?
So on the, in the royalty fund, as we discussed in the budget meetings, the royalty fund itself is not gonna meet the revenue expectation, so there's a reduction there. However, we were able to offset it with, revenues that are higher than, you got interest earnings, that's gonna be higher. We actually received some money back from the levy district, and then the additional, interest earnings that's being earned by Texaco royalty that's being transferred over. So the net effect is actually a reduction in the deficit of $34,000.
So the road district, the 475.
This is not in here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that's right, that's
Yeah, these are
19. I'm
adjustments
sorry,
to
you're right,
ATS
right,
budget.
all right.
Okay, is that it, Mr. Napier?
That's it, thank you.
Okay, Michael Landry?
I'm waive.
Okay, Ms. Broussard?
I think you answered that, but the contributions local, that's what we got back from the levy district?
We actually got back more than that from the levy district, a portion of it, I prorated it.
Right, that's in this fund.
That's only in that fund.
That's what that is represented.
The rest of it was in general.
Okay, no further discussion, roll call? Brian? Okay, that motion passes. Summary number 201, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2018 Texaco royalty fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. I have a motion by Mr. Michael Landry, a second by Mr. Olivier, and then I'm going to ask for the explanation. Okay, Ms. Segura?
So this is the additional interest that's being earned in the Texaco royalty fund that is transferred to royalty. So it's a wash, the extra revenue and then the extra expense.
Okay, no further discussion, roll call. Okay, that motion passes. Summary number 202, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2018 road projects construction fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. I have a motion by Mr. Napier, a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Napier.
So in this fund, we are reducing the interest, the investment line by $3,000. We overestimated the interest earnings there, and then the offsetting reduction is to fund balance previous years. We transferred a lot of money out of here, and so as a result of the transfer, it reduced it. We cut it based on what it was from the prior year, but it's actually lower than that.
Thank you.
Okay, no further discussion, roll call. That motion passes. Summary number 203, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2018 risk management fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. I have a motion by Mr. Gonsalas, second by Mr. Napier.
What are the adjustments, Mr. Gert?
In this fund, the billings, based on the amounts that are allocated to the various departments, there's a reduction of 60,000. And then the extra money from the interest earnings, that was not, anticipated. The actual insurance premiums that were paid were about $8,000 less. We did have one larger claim, that needed to be accounted for. That's at $75,000. And then on the workers' comp, we had budgeted, based on an older claim, that doesn't have any current activity on it, so we'll reduce that. There was enough in the other general liability claim amounts that could have absorbed the extra 75 that I didn't reduce down, but I don't know exactly what's going to transpire between now and the end of the year, and I didn't want to remove that into that appropriation in the event that something would have hit, and that would have thrown that out of compliance.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, Mr. Napier? No further discussion, roll call. Mr. Tommy? And that motion passes. Summary number 204, introduced by the parish president, a resolution amending the 2018 general fund budget to provide for year-end adjustments. Have a motion by Michael Landry, a second by Mr. Olivier. Mr. Michael?
Sure. So similar to in 16 JDC, we have two accounts in here that receive fines and forfeiture revenues, and those are lower than what we had currently anticipated based on the prior years. So we're reducing those, and then you'll see the 7276, which is the reduction in general fund coming from HUD. So we were able to offset that with additional revenues that we had received from occupational and insurance licenses. And then there's two grants that is basically a wash. The $48,790 is a SHISH of 2018 grant. And so then we have those two categories, and then 34.8, that'll be coming from LGAP Technology. So it's all just a wash, no additional charge to fund balance.
Okay, no further discussion, roll call. That motion passes. We have a motion to adjourn, roll call. Roll call. Begin vote. Roll call. Y'all want to just roll right into it?